All right, everybody, come on in and join me for our 52-week memory verse challenge. I would love to have you guys come and visit me. And we are doing a 52-week memory verse challenge. Oh, hi, guys. I am Erin Taylor Young. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a podcaster. I teach fiction and nonfiction. And so today, oh, hi. And if you're watching on YouTube, by the way, this started off as a Periscope. And so if you're wondering why I'm talking to people, they really are there. So, okay, this is Erin Taylor Young. We're doing our 52-week memory verse challenge. You can find me and this listing of all the verses at erintayloryoung.com. You can also find my podcast, rightfromthedeep.com. You can find that there, rightfromthedeep.com. And so that's where you can find me. Enough about me. Let's get to our Bible. We are working on something to believe this month, and I wanted to do this verse as a great follow-up. So let me pull this around. I can visit with you guys. All right. So this verse is thanks for the hearts, guys. This verse is a favorite of mine in here, but it's in the middle of a longer passage. So I wanted to talk to you about what do you do when that happens, when it's in the middle of a long passage. So first, let me read this passage so you can have the context of what's going on. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything, to stand. Stand firm then, with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. Okay, so that was a long passage. Is just one verse out of that. Here's the thing, I wanted to focus on this whole flaming arrow shield of faith thing because my pastor was talking about it on Sunday yesterday, and I thought it was so cool because last week we talked about the thief coming to steal and kill and destroy. So let's just focus on this little section here. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. That's Ephesians 6:16. We don't really want to memorize something out of context. By that I mean you don't want to erase things around it and make this one verse say something it doesn't. Okay, so let's be careful that we don't do that. And so what you can do is you can kind of think to yourself, I don't know what in addition to all this means. Well, that's okay. You can drop that part of the verse and just say, I'm memorizing Ephesians 16b or 16a, part of the verse. That's okay for you to do. Or you can memorize what's all around it if you want to. You can memorize more verses. Or you can simply just simply remember what the context is. So here, I'm just going to remember what the context is. Okay, and so it's the context of Paul talking about we have against the evil one. Remember last week we talked again about how the thief comes to steal and kill and destroy. And this week in our verse, he is shooting flaming arrows at you. He really, really, truly is. And we want to believe that we have a defense against that. So here's something I want to show you guys around again. Hopefully you can see this on my screen. This is it's a reenactment here of the Roman Empire, their army, and their shields, and how they would march. Now see, Paul is writing in the time of the Roman Empire. Okay. Everybody there knows exactly what those shields look like, but Paul wants people to understand that we have a shield like that, a shield of faith. Here's the most interesting thing I thought, and it's horrible, but our pastor was talking about this, and it really helped me see what this shield of faith does. They would, when they would march into battle, sure, they could have this formation, but from far away, before you ever get into this hand-to-hand combat, people would shoot arrows. Not just any arrows. They would dip them in pitch, light them on fire, and shoot them. And even if the arrow did not penetrate the armor of the person you were aiming at, the pitch would just literally like explode into this fiery thing, and it would engulf the person in flames. that is horrible and horrific. So the soldiers had their shields, and they would sometimes actually, they were, I think, in some parts made of wood. They would overlay them with metal. They would dip this in water or overlay it with leather and dip it in water so that when the flaming arrow hit the shield, it would extinguish it. And I love, love, love that imagery, because that's what we have. Our shield of faith is our faith in the power of God's promises, God's person, God's power, and God's purpose. Of all of those things, we can have faith in that and extinguish all of the flaming arrows that the evil one is going to shoot at us. Let's go over. Next week we'll talk, or later this week, we'll talk more about the specific arrows. But this week, let's work on believing this. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Ephesians 6:16. That's all for today, everybody. Have a good day.